Football is getting faster and faster, so one of the most vital elements of being a good modern footballer is that you're also fast. And if you're not, you might think that it's already over. But no, my friends, because speed is more than just running fast in a straight line. And thankfully, it's also one of those areas that you can really improve on with the right drills. So, we put together no less than 55 minutes of tips and speed drills to help you become faster. So, buckle up and let's get going.
Cutting is also being fast. How on earth does that work? Cutting, braking, talk to me.
I mean, cutting is when you, for example, when your teammate is losing the ball, right? You have to brake and go the other direction, okay? Right. So we're talking something when you, for example, do 180 degrees. Okay?
So very, very sharp, explosive turn.
Exactly,
okay.
Yeah. So if we take this line here, for example, okay? If I know I have to stop and change direction on that line, the later I need to start braking, the faster I will get out of this turn, right? The faster the whole action will be, okay? So this is why it's important that we have this kind of deceleration and cut before we accelerate again.
Right. Okay. It's funny because a lot of the brands that make football boots these days also focus on deceleration, on actually helping you brake more effectively, which means that, I mean, it won't make you that much faster, but margins and all that stuff, right? So the later and more effective you brake, and the faster you can get out.
When we do this, actually, we do something what we call eccentric move, and it's followed by a concentric move. When I'm going down in a squat, that's eccentric. Now my legs are working eccentric. When I'm going up, concentric. Okay. The same when I'm jumping, eccentric, concentric, okay? So that's why we want to do that our body can do this as quick as possible, and that we can do in training, of course.
You just want to come in, boom, boom, and away, right?
So we have basically 3 phases when we do this. You have the deceleration, you have the cut, and you have the acceleration. Okay, now, you see a cone here, you see a cone there, you see a cone there. Okay? What I want you to do, that you're standing here, then, on command, you shuffle to the high cone, okay? So like this, and back in position. Then I say it again. You do it one more time, coming back in position. And the third time, I say, you go there, and then you have an acceleration to this cone.
Right.
Go. 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 Yes.
Yeah, that was the one.
That was the one. And it feels
much better, much better.
Yeah, because immediately you have the contact with the ground, you can push off.
But it's all about trusting your left leg. And that's what I feel when I come down, especially on AG, that it's about, you know, really trusting that this leg is strong enough to you press it into the ground. That's the key for me, at least here. I need to remember that I need to press this into the ground and not this one. This is the support leg, right?
And exactly. And this is also when we talk about injury prevention. Because if I'm going too far here, and now I can't really stop completely, and now the body weight is still moving there, now I have a lot of stress on my knees.
And your boots are stuck.
Exactly. The boot is stuck. You're moving still further, and this is when we have a high risk for the knees.
And that's why you need to wear AG boots.
Yes.
On AG pitches.
Okay, want to do it one more time?
Yeah, let's show.
Go. 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 Yes, beautiful.
Very good.
Exactly like this. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I first want you to do, that you put the foot like this. Okay? When I say put the foot like this is, the load is on the front inside. Okay? Because here you can push off then. Okay? So therefore, that you just make a step, that you try to be in this position.
Okay. So I'm here, and I just come over.
Exactly, exactly. Very good. The lower leg is not too vertical, that your body is not moving too much to this direction, but that you like a stick, put from foot to shoulder, basically like a line. Yes, very good. Okay, And now you can push off once.
So I come in.
Yes, okay. Now the next one is that when you come from here, you're standing now between the two cones here, that the last step before that you come into this position, okay, with the foot. So what you're basically doing is here now, you're standing more on the outside, so that you come like pam pam.
So already in the last like step jump, I'm turning my body, so okay, that makes sense. I'm like, I come down like that, okay.
Try to have a little bit more the move here on this side, okay? Not too much on the heel, but that you're really here on this part of your foot. Yes, good. Yes, good one. And you see, it feels that it's short. We call it in the hole, okay? That you're coming down here, that's a hole before you accelerate again.
But I can also feel that it's almost as if my body does some of the work for me, that I don't have to like drag myself back from out here and go. That I'm already ready to just,
Because now I want you to do something, just that we can compare maybe. One time you put your load on your right foot, so that you're landing with the right foot. And after this, as you now learned, that you're braking with the left foot. Okay? Just give it how it is.
Yeah, that didn't feel very nice.
Okay, and now do it with that you brake with the left foot. Yes.
Can definitely feel that it's a lot more, the right foot is basically just touching to keep balance, and all the power, the brake and the power comes from the left, right?
Now you go like 5 meters back. Go stand over there. Okay, stop, that's enough. That you try to rush into this situation, okay? So now we try that here in this part, you have the highest possible speed. I mean, at one point it will be too fast, then you can't make the turn anymore, okay? But that is our ultimate goal, that here you're as fast as possible, that you don't have to brake there already, that you're braking just there. So because then the total time becomes shorter. You see, now it was a bit too fast, because now you see left foot came up. You couldn't hold it. Try a little bit slower, perfectly fine. Yeah.
I still lift.
Yes, that was better. Yes. But you see, it's a process. We don't expect that this is perfect from the first or second try, okay? But once we know the principle of how to do it, then we can do it again and again and again. And then we can also get better. So now what I want you to do is that you, when you get to the end, when we start our acceleration, that you push off with the left foot to push out of the ladder.
Okay.
There is very often the mistake people are making when they come here. Now they have the next contact here.
Yeah, that would totally be what I would do.
Exactly, but look at what's happening now. Now I'm basically falling into the step. Look what's happening with my left leg. I cannot develop any power with the left leg. Okay, but when I'm pushing off with the left foot, you see, when I'm doing it a little bit faster, it goes pum, 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 pum.
That kind of makes sense, to be honest. But I would do it the complete opposite way. And it's funny because I think most footballers would.
It is quite common. So you're not the only one.
And usually in high-level football, you don't have the space to really get into that. So the acceleration, the first couple of meters are vital, right? Exactly. So in, like that. Okay. That feels very, very unnatural.
It is awkward because we're trying to break your habit now. This is why, first of all, the brain is a little bit overwhelmed with what we're doing, okay, so therefore it feels a bit odd. I can understand this. But as you also said, at the same time, it feels smoother. It feels getting out of the ladder easier. So when you're coming into this position, it will be very difficult to come into this stretch, right? So when I'm here, I come into, or I continue in this stretch position, so I can transfer the power better into the direction I want to go.
Right.
Try it one more time. Yes, good.
I can feel it now. Just a couple of repetitions, I can actually feel that it's, I wouldn't say it's more natural, but I can feel
it is, you're getting there.
Yeah.
You're getting there, exactly. Of course, we always have to do in both directions, but always try to work on both sides so that you not only do it on this side, but also that you do it moving with the left so that you're pushing off with the right. Yes, because that probably feels even more odd for you.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Yes, because you're also a left pusher.
Yes.
For example, when you jump for a header, you would use your left leg.
Obviously.
I think 90% of the people, they would push off with the left foot.
Yeah.
So therefore it feels a bit more odd when you do it with the right foot.
All right, so the 3 mistakes we're going to talk about today is how you move your arms,
Exactly.
your hip extension,
Yes.
and how you place your feet.
Yeah.
So if you start with the arms,
Yeah.
like what's the mistake? I mean, I guess you move your arms, that's it, right?
The arms are actually like a motor for the feet.
Okay.
Why? Because if I take a step with the right foot, I need the left hand. If I take a step with the left foot, I need the right hand, right? So it's always right with the left, left with right. So when my arms are slow, then logically also my feet are getting slower. So I need my arms to get the momentum, to get the energy. So therefore it's really, really important to move our arms fast.
Right.
But if we are moving like this, as we sometimes see it with some of the players, the problem is then the energy is moving to the outside, and the upper body starts rotating. And then you're losing the speed in the direction you want to go. And also when my upper body is rotating, then also my legs start moving. And if I want to kick the ball, if I want to pass the ball at full speed, I need the precision. So hip extension means that this part of our body is coming into a full stretch, because then I can be more powerful when I accelerate, but also when I'm at full speed, when I'm running, when I'm in a higher position, then it's going to be easier. So therefore, the hip extension, that we're not coming into this sitting position where the hip is in this position, so I'm falling forward with my upper body, and that we see very often when somebody is accelerating, that the first step they're falling into this position, and then it's going to be difficult to move forward.
So basically the mistake is leaning too much forward.
Exactly, that we're falling forward instead of pushing the hip forward as you would like to do it in acceleration.
Okay, so arms, hips, and then there's foot placement. I mean, you put one foot ahead of the other, right? And you do it really fast, and then you go like this. How can you make a mistake?
It's not that easy. The thing is that we want that our foot is landing exactly under our body so that we can push forward. When I put my foot down on the ground, I want to be able to push the ground away so that my body moves forward. If I'm landing, I can take the line here. If I'm landing in front of my body, I cannot push back, right? Now I'm pushing into the air, into the ground, and now first my body falls, and then I'm also coming into this position with the hip extension. So therefore, when I'm landing under my body, it's an easy move forward.
Right. So that's basically the theory behind it, what you are doing wrong. But in order to actually fix what you're doing wrong, you have some drills for us. And you're not going to fix it overnight, I'm going to be honest here, but at least it's a start to try and get rid of some of those bad habits that you're doing, right? So what do? Arms.
We do some drills.
Good.
So the first one, because the arms and the hip extension we can do actually in one drill. So when we do this, that you're bouncing with both feet in the air, you lift one knee, then you're landing on both feet, bouncing up and lifting the other knee. Exactly. So you do like...
So like basically...
Yes. Good. Yes. Very good.
And it's important that I land on my toes, right?
Exactly. That the heels is never touching the ground.
Yeah.
So, and that's what the thing is about this warm-up, that you do everything that you want to do when you're running in the game. So you're only on the front part of your foot. You're stretching your hip. You're using your arms in the way that you want them to use.
But it's like I'm running just upwards instead.
Exactly.
A little bit.
And actually, when you would stop the video, when you're in the air, in this position, that would be exactly the same position we would do when we are accelerating. The important thing here is, as you did now, that your arms are close to your body, that you're not like this, because then also here your upper body would start rotating, and you don't want that. So therefore it's a perfect drill.
So the second drill,
we call it stalk. Here the main focus is that you're landing with your foot under your body.
Okay.
So when you put your knee up, you pull your foot a bit forward, and then you push it down. Okay. So really quick.
Like a horse.
Exactly. And then you have this little bit of a, you can call it a kind of a marching hop. Up. Yeah, use your arms. Good. Stop.
That feels ridiculous.
It feels ridiculous because there is a little bit of a thing. Now, when you're landing with your foot, you're jumping backwards with the same foot. But I want, when you're landing, the same foot makes a hop forward. Look at my feet exactly. When I'm doing it, forward, forward. You see, what you really want to do is landing, push forward. Yes.
I should work on that.
No, but as I said, it comes with doing.
Yeah.
Okay? The more often you do it, the better, the easier it is. So in this one, you would now, from this position with both feet, you're jumping one row back and then two forward. And when you're jumping forward, I want you to jump as high as possible, because you look now when you're in this position, and then you would stretch the entire body. Exactly.
Okay, so we're loading the spring. Boom.
Exactly.
Okay, on my toes. Boom.
Yes. Good. You did really well because you had a very light foot. Landing and bouncing up.
Okay.
And you did also very well that you were coming into a stretch position, because you see really, the moment I'm pushing up from my feet, my whole body gets stretched. Yes, very good. Excellent. Good one, really good. We're teaching now the muscles to use those muscle fibers we need for an explosive move.
Right.
We call them the fast twitch fibers. So you try to activate them, to recruit them as quick as you can. And that is perfect with the plyometrics.
So basically what I'm doing here, despite me going up, I'm teaching my body to be explosive when I go forward.
Yes. And I want you to go as high as possible, not as long as possible, because when you're going long, most likely you will not fully extend your hip. You will only do it when you go as high as possible.
So, Erling Haaland, built like a Nordic god, shouldn't be fast.
Yeah, why not?
What's the secret?
Yeah, I mean, Erling Haaland, first of all, I mean, he's 1.94 m, right? So this is 6'4". The last figure that I found is about 88 kilo. So he's not super heavy, right? So when you compare him, for example, against Lukaku, I think he would be heavier. So that's one thing, that it's not only strengths. And then also, I mean, the question is, what do we consider speed? So speed, we basically say every movement under time pressure. And that is what we do in football, right? So it's not only the mechanical speed, how fast can I run, but also how fast do I move, how fast do I react. So it's a brain speed. And here we have done some videos with you already, right, where you have been training your brain speed. Today we will focus a little bit more on the mechanical, but it's this combination. Erling Haaland, for example, he says that he feels the situation. So there is somewhere up subconscious that he considers this situation, and then he starts moving. Sometimes you see some videos where he's the only one or the first one moving towards the goal when there's a rebound, for example.
Right.
So it's not only the speed when he's running 50-60 meter, but also in the box he's extremely quick when it comes to rebounds or to find spaces. He's scanning a lot, which gives him the information where's some space, where can I move. So this whole combination is actually making him fast.
But he's powerful too, right? I mean, he's a unit.
He's a unit,
Powerful
and you can
legs.
see he's using his body. When he's moving with the defender, he's always into the defender. So very often you see they're both at the same time to the ball. Out of a sudden the defender is flying away, and only Haaland is still running and moving forward and scoring. So of course he has the body. He uses his body for what he's doing, but the whole combination, as I said, brain speed, acceleration speed, and then top speed. This is the things that making him so successful at the moment.
And this is why you need to train, practice, wire it into your brain. So when you see that, when you feel the game, this is the time to accelerate, you can do it and be that split second faster than your opponent.
Exactly. And this is a skill that Erling Haaland has, that he can make his body move into the direction he needs to go so ridiculously fast. And that's the combination of brain speed and body speed.
And this is how you train. All right, so the drills.
Yeah.
What's this?
Here with the grid, we're working on some jumping, because jumping is actually the key drill that you have to do to improve your acceleration.
Right.
Because when we're talking about this, we're talking about reactive strength.
Sure.
Okay, how much strength do you have in your feet? Because that is also another word for this is elasticity.
Sure.
That means when you put the foot on the ground, you want to get it off the ground as quick as possible. This we can improve with the plyometrics, okay, with the jumping drills. So the first one I'm going to show you, from this position, you jump one to the side and one to the front, and now the left foot is in front. So on the right side, the right foot is in front, on the left side,
Yes.
the left foot is in front. But you don't do this with a landing, but you do this with bouncing, so that you try to stay on the ground as short as possible. So you try to push off as quick as possible. Okay, from here.
Look at the man go. That is a good bounce, that.
Good.
Okay.
It would actually be easier for you. Now you had the right hand and the left
I did do that.
in front. When you do like in running, we would go right foot and left hand. That you immediately also here, when the right foot is in front, you have the left hand, and then you're changing, pump. Yes.
That's easier. Why is that so much easier?
Because this is our natural running,
Okay.
right? The motion. Now try it one more time, but try that we call it jump into your shoulders. That you try this part of your body, you try to raise it as high as possible, like you would do for a header.
Yeah.
So try always to focus that you're not jumping into your hip, but that you're jumping into your shoulders. Yes. Excellent. And you see now you're coming into the full stretch when you jump like this. And that's exactly what you want in the acceleration, that you come into this full stretch. You remember we had this from toe to head, you want to be in a straight line. So when I'm jumping now in the air, I'm coming into this full stretch.
Right.
That's the key thing of this drill.
Okay.
You want to do it a bit more difficult. I mean, that was for beginners. That's kind of the easy stuff, right?
Do I want to? Let's try. You know what? We're here to improve. Let's try.
So the more advanced is that you can do it from the very right to the very left. So now you jumped only one line. Now you will jump two lines.
Why did I say yes?
So from the very right to the very left.
Okay.
That's a bit more.
Can Erling Haaland do this?
I guess so. I mean, I haven't tried with him because he was not practicing with me yet, but I think he can do it. Yes.
Ah, okay. That was too far.
Yes. Excellent. Very good. But always try that you're basically as short as possible on the ground as long as possible in the air.
Right.
Excellent. Very good. And walk back. Walk back always. That you need some rest after, okay?
Yeah.
Because now this is a lot of stress on your muscles, so you also want to rest after this a bit. Otherwise, you're just getting your muscle into fatigue, so the muscle are getting tired, and then you can't work on speed training. So therefore, always take a lot of rest after you have done something. Relax before you do the next repetition.
Okay.
And this is this quick move,
Yeah.
this quick move, and that is what you want in the acceleration. That this most explosive first step that you come into the run. So therefore, this is one of the key drills we're doing.
But I can also tell you out there that this is not something you learn overnight. You got to do it again and again and again.
Yeah. Now, I mean, also, we're not only running straight, we're also coming from rotations a lot, right? So that we do rotations when you're in the box, for example, you have to rotate maybe to accelerate. So here we do now one drill. You're standing like this, and then you're bouncing, and then the other way.
I mean, it sounds easy on paper, but oh, it's not. So
one tip here, try to have the elbows a bit higher.
okay.
Why is this important? Look, put your arms down, put your arms all the way down. Okay, look what I can do with your body.
Yeah.
You have no stability in your upper body. Now raise your,
Yeah. Okay.
now you gain stability, right? So also the position of arms, not only here in this drill, but also in the game. When I have this position, I have more stability, right? So also when I want to move, it's easier. So try that you now rotate also with your arms. Yes.
That felt a lot better.
See, just because of the position of the arms. So before you were down here, then you had basically no momentum with your arms. But look, when I start accelerating, if I want to move here, what part of my body is moving first? The shoulder. The shoulder, and then the head. You try to face the head towards the direction where you want to run, because then your body follows. So it starts with shoulder, so you're moving here with the rotation. That's why we're also talking about core stability, right? That you have this, and then it's easy to move forward.
So he's telling me that acceleration is actually also starting with the... Wow, I did not expect that, but it makes sense. So let's try it again.
Yes.
That does feel like it's easier to be explosive in the turns. Okay.
We have about, believe it or not, about 900 rotations in the game.
Yeah.
That means about 10 every minute, right? So when you're moving like this, and you're moving like this is what you do in the game, right? So we have also to focus on this part of the acceleration, and this is what we very often forget. It's not only the legs, it's also the arms making us fast.
And this gives power. He knows. I told you guys, he knows. Kylian Mbappe. How the hell is he so fast? Well, obviously there are a lot of factors. And today Carsten will reveal one of Mbappe's secrets, which is...
frequency.
But Carsten's step frequency, you know, when I think of speed, I think that it comes from genetics and, you know, a lot of work on your muscles and your legs and all that stuff. We talked about previously with Mbappe the length of his steps. But now it's also about the frequency.
It is definitely kind of genetics. Of course, we need the right muscle structure to be able to be fast. If we have the genetics, but if we don't have the ability that we make quick steps, you need to program your neuromuscular system. You need to program your motor units that we have in our body, in our muscles, to be able to do, for example, quick steps. And that is what we can do with training. So when we're looking at Mbappe, for example, when we look at the statistics of the World Cup in Qatar, in all the games he's playing 90 minutes, he's not running more than 8.5 kilometers in the game.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot. When you compare, for example, to the midfielders like Bellingham, they are covering easily 11 kilometers or even more. But when you look at Mbappe, he's having a very high distance in full speed. So you can a little bit compare to like a cheetah. When a cheetah is chasing the animals, going full speed for a short period and then resting. And you can compare Mbappe's playing style a little bit with this. If he's going full speed. After this, he will rest to go full speed again when it's necessary.
If we look at his top speed, I think in the World Cup it was like 35.4 kilometers an hour.
It was 35.4 kilometers an hour. Kilometers per hour, this is what we use from the cars, right? I mean, it's easier to if we convert it into meter per second. Meter per second, it would be 10 meters per second. Or in other words, he's making 5 steps a second. Every step is 2 meters long. So this is what he's doing in 1 second. And you can imagine, if you do this, you rather have to be very, very quick with your feet.
Yeah.
And that is what we have to learn, what we have to be as part of our training sessions, that we have to practice this again and again.
If the guys and girls out there can learn how to improve the length of their steps and the frequency of their steps, they will, on paper at least, improve their speed.
Yeah. In football, if you have a step which is too long, it's not really helpful when you have a change of direction. So we have to have the ability still that we have to stop from 1 second to another, because we are sprinting full speed, our teammate is losing the ball, stop the other way, right? So if we have a step which is too long, it takes too long to break and to change direction. So therefore we don't want to have a long step. You remember when we did one video with Usain Bolt, one of his steps is 2.95 meters.
Yeah.
And that's too long for a football player. We can't have the same step lengths like he does. So therefore, we have to work on the frequency rather than on increasing the lengths of the steps. So if you want to decelerate, you go with very quick steps, small steps, and then you can go easily or easier into the acceleration again.
That makes sense. So let's try the drills. See if it works.
It works.
It works.
I promise.
So this is a familiar face. Yes. I say that with both joy and also a little bit of dread because, you know, I don't know what you have for me.
No, I mean, you know, this is what we think is the perfect training tool for you, because you can work on small steps, and by this you can increase the frequency. Yeah. So what I have for you today is that you make steps that you cross into the box, then you have the second foot, cross, second foot, cross, second foot, cross outside the box, and then you cross the other way. So now it's left, right, left, right, left, right, and 1 foot out. So it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Oh, I'm gonna mess up so many times, aren't I? The left out, okay. So in, like that, out, like that. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like
you see, it's a bit of a challenge. Exactly.
It is.
We actually say when you're a better dancer, you're also a better football player.
I'm obviously a very bad dancer.
There's a lot of coordination. Yeah. So when I'm doing it, I don't have to think about it anymore, right? And this is exactly what you want to get to at this point, that your system is able of doing this automatically. You don't have to think about it. Because when you play football, you don't have the time to think about what is my next best move. Yeah. It must come automatically.
So do you think if we took Kylian and told him how to do this,
yeah,
he would be at least better than me, because he's naturally, you know, his body is wired to do these things?
I'm pretty sure he can do this kind of things, because he went to the academy of the French Association. Sure. So I think this is part of their training when they're in younger ages. I think he went there when he was 13 or 14.
Yeah, I wish I had this training as a kid, but I obviously didn't. But full thing, we're gonna speed this up and hopefully I don't mess up now.
Yes, excellent.
Actually, you know, when I got past the 4th or 5th row,
yeah,
it was almost as if my brain got it. And I only had to think about don't screw up,
yeah,
not about what I was doing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't want to disappoint you, but the next time you're going to do it, you will fail.
Yes.
Because it takes a while. And therefore, because now you did it one time, yeah, right? You did it slowly, sure, exactly as I want you to do. But we say that you master a skill if you can't do it wrong anymore. Not if you have done it once, yeah, but really if you can't do it wrong anymore. That is when you master a drill. That's the same with passing the ball. If you're on the highest level, at least 9 out of 10 must be perfect.
Sure.
If not 10 out of 10. It is unfortunately not a quick fix, as we all know, so therefore the younger we start, the better it is, because then we can really go all the way in the academies. This is why we start in early ages, but it takes time.
So the message here is don't just do it 10 times and think that now all of a sudden you're faster. You have to do it again and again and again, and then stop, come back another day, another week, another month, another year, another one, and do it all over again, right?
Exactly.
That's how you become faster. That's how you improve in general.
And that's actually also the secret behind Mbappe's speed. It's not just because he has quick muscles, it is also the training hours he spent when he was younger.
The desire, yeah?
Yeah.
So now you have 2 ladders in a line.
Yes.
What's that?
This is for a reason. I mean, first of all, now you see that the boxes are a bit bigger, right? This is that you can control it a bit better. What we're doing here is that we create some kind of overspeed now, because overspeed will help our body to make quicker moves. Now what I want you to do is that you have 1 contact in each box in the first ladder. Then you go with full speed to the next ladder, and here you have 2 contacts before you go full speed again.
Okay.
That is, for example, what you do in the game. When you run, then you have to slow down, not to become offside, and then to accelerate again, right? So we have this kind of movements in our game. And that is what we do here, because here in this part, you can be faster than in this part, because now I'm forcing you into very small steps. But because you're coming with speed already, you're already here in speed. What you should try to, when you're getting into this ladder, that you're not falling down to come into this position, but still try to be in a stretch position even when you're here.
Right. Can I run too fast here, so I kind of like have to slow down too much?
If you're too fast, you will realize in the ladder that you can't handle it.
Let's see.
Good. It is, of course, that you came a little bit lower.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Than you were here. I don't know if you could feel this.
I definitely.
That in this. And also that you were not going full speed, because you were aware if you're too fast, you can't handle the second ladder.
Yeah.
And this is just a process, that this will be easier and easier and easier for you, and then it's going faster, and that you do not have to decelerate that much as you have now to get into the second ladder.
See, this is what happens. I got cocky.
Exactly. And this is actually also what you would expect, right? That you're failing at one point. And this is why I say always try to have the speed that you can control.
Yeah.
Of course, you then try to find out what is your limit. If you come to your limit, it's okay. If you're coming over your limit, this happens, then you can always step down a little bit and try always like this to go to your limit and go a bit higher, Yeah. But this is also, again, it takes a little while, of course.
I could feel, maybe it's just in my head, because you've just said it, but I could feel that opening up my body a little. I did feel it was a little bit easier to do.
It makes it easier. Because we always seem to believe this is going faster, but it's actually not.
So basically, look at the few little steps, and then also this with slightly longer steps, full burst, little steps, full burst.
Exactly.
2 very important drills. Today, we're talking about changing the direction.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that translate into speed?
We have 2 things. We have change of direction, as you said, and we have agility. There's a little bit of a difference in between. Agility means we have to react on something. So if you hear something, if you see something, if you feel something, then you have to move your body into the position where you think you have to go. So you have to take a decision. That's part of it as well, right?
So essentially, if I'm running with the ball, I see the defenders coming at me, doing something, trying to take the ball. I dribble outside.
Exactly.
That's agility.
That's agility, exactly. But then we also have something we call change of direction purely, where you know already where to run. But when you have a game, when you have a free kick or when you have a corner kick, the attacking team, they know exactly where to run, right? They have something they call set play, so that every player in the team knows exactly, okay, I have to run there, he has to run there, they have to run there to find the target player. The thing is, this is surprising, or it's supposed to be surprising for the defending team, because I know what's going to happen. The defending team, in best case, they don't know what is happening, right? This is how you try to have an advantage. First, I show you a drill from our warm-up, from our Golden 8, okay? The drill here is, now that we have a line here, so we start from here, and you can use a line. You don't need one, you have to maybe just imagine one. The left foot is on the right side, the right foot is on the left side. So cross steps like this.
So cross steps, I step like here, 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 here. Okay.
You can hold your hands a little bit higher, that they help to stabilize the body, okay? Because it's key now that the body is upright, that you're not coming into a pending movement, but that your upper body, exactly, that's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Exactly like this.
I can feel that, but how does that make me faster? You know, it feels a little bit like I'm dancing.
Are you running like this in the game? What do you think?
No, I don't think I am.
Okay, let me show you with the ball. When you're standing there, I'm passing the ball to you and I'm running there. What is actually happening with my feet? I pass the ball to you, put down the foot and start accelerating.
He's crossing. We're crossing. Okay. So we are running like that.
We are running like this in the game. This is just one example. Because look, I could also do it differently. I could pass the ball, put the foot down, put the next foot down, and start running now. But now I took 3 steps, before only 2. 2, of course, would be faster, right?
So if you sat out there thinking, I was just trying to make sense of all of this in my head. How is this like speed? How does this make me faster? How does this give me an advantage? But is it right to say that when you have these off-the-ball movements, these little changes of direction, they buy you that extra split second?
Yeah, exactly.
That's often vital when you play high-level football.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can be faster to get into the open space, you have a little bit more time there to receive the ball and do something good with it. Okay, makes sense.
And this drill here, for example, is improving your foot strength. Okay, so we call it reactive strength. That your foot is resting as short as possible on the ground, but it's bouncing off as explosive as possible. This is why it's important to activate our feet with a drill like this. What you're going to do is that you start with both feet in the center, then you take a cross step to one side, then you have both feet in the center again, and then you have a cross step to the other side. So you have always 1, 2 steps in the center box, 1 on the outside box, 2 in the center, 1 in the outside, 2 in the center, 1 in the outside, okay?
But that is very, you know, like tiptoey ballet dancer-like.
It is tiptoeing ballet dancing. You think sometimes people say, well, but my feet are too big for this. Yeah. But you can imagine my shoe size is also not the smallest. But if you're running like this, it's not a problem. And also because I'm on the front part of my foot.
Right. And what we need to remember here is that this particular drill and foot movement will not necessarily make you faster like that, but it helps put that into your brain that you're always on your toes, and that whole thing with like shifting your weight to the other side, right?
But we're actually improving something we call foot strength. Yeah. What part of your body is the most important when you play football? And everyone would say the legs,
yes,
or the core.
Yes.
And then I say, okay, listen to the word again. You play football, so it's actually the feet.
Okay.
The feet need the most power, because everything, when I change direction, it starts from the feet. Yeah. So if my feet are not strong enough, my legs are not really helping me.
So, why I couldn't do that at speed?
In the beginning, always try to have the quality. Yes. You don't have to do it fast, okay, because our body, our brain needs to learn a new thing. Yes. So therefore it's perfectly fine to do it slow in the beginning, because eventually you will become faster and faster.
It's very counterintuitive. We're talking speed, yeah, but take it slow. But it's good advice. So down, boom, 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 boom. Okay, and how fast should I ideally be doing it? As fast as possible in the end?
You want to do it as fast as you can control it. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
When you do a new drill, you always try to have a high number of repetitions. Okay, that would mean in that case at least 8 to 10.
Okay.
Okay. Today, now that we demonstrate only the drill, usually it is followed by a sprint, by an acceleration, right, for 4 to 5 meters. Okay. And then also actually you need a lot of rest. If you're becoming tired, your muscles cannot pick up the signal for becoming faster anymore. Okay, so therefore then it's not really speed training, then it's more like speed endurance training, but not really top speed training. So therefore there is a rule of thumb. When you do something for 1 second intense, you should rest 20 to 30 seconds. When you do something for 2 seconds intense, you should rest 40 to 60 seconds. 3 seconds, 60 to 90.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice. What's the next drill?
Now I want you to do exactly the same drill. And after this, you continue by making the same move in the run through the loops. Okay? So on the right side, you step in with the left foot. On the left side, you step in with the right foot. So that you have this cross move, then you go on the other side and have this cross move.
To me, just thinking I have to change direction, running like that, I would come with my right foot in the right loop and the left in the left to change direction like that. But as you told me in the very first video we did together many years ago, the best way is actually to come here, change direction like that, because then I'm already moving that way, right?
Exactly. And it's also that your body is not moving that far to one side, to the outside in that case.
Sure.
So the more central your body can stay, the faster you can make the move, right?
Right. So it might be counterintuitive to you guys. It is to me as well, because I haven't learned this at a young age. But start early, do this, because it actually makes sense. It's the right way to do it.
The same thing here. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And then left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Accelerate. Oh, there he is. The key thing again is that you try to stay on the front part of your foot.
Right.
Okay? When I say front part of your foot, because very often we heard the term on your toes.
Yeah.
On your toes, that would be like a ballet dancer. You wouldn't want this, okay? But if you have enough space for your hand under your heel,
That's enough?
that's enough.
Okay.
Because now you're standing on the front foot.
Yeah, your weight is on the front
Exactly.
foot. Yeah. Okay. If you don't have like rings, can you use some, like just a cone where you, as a marker?
You can do cones, four cones, for example,
Yeah.
that you have a marker, or you can even tape, something like this.
Okay.
So it's perfectly
So
fine.
there's an indicator of where you should place your foot-ish?
Exactly. Because that's also part of the coordination, that you try to have the foot in the right position. Because also when I want to kick the ball, when the ball is coming from the outside, I want to have the foot exactly here to be able to score the goal. If my foot is too far, I'm not gonna score, right?
So you're telling me that by doing speed training, I also train my brain to learn how to position my foot when I strike the ball right?
You have a better feeling for your where is my body when and how to control it. Right. That's then the overall expression for this is coordination.
So we start here.
Excellent. Very good. And now you walk back.
Yeah, rest.
Exactly. This is exactly the rest. So therefore, we are not in a hurry when we do these kind of things. We have the time to relax a little bit, to walk back.
Okay, what could I do better here?
You did it actually pretty well. So therefore, it's not that I would say you have to do this better, this better. Then over time, when you do it more and more often, then it will become faster. Okay, so therefore, now it's all about repetition, repetition, repetition.
Hold on a second here. Running faster backwards. When do you need that?
I mean, you actually need it more often than you think you need it. Because, you know, there's one ball on the pitch.
Yes.
So there's two players involved usually. One who's driving the ball, one is attacking the one with the ball. But there's a lot of other players on the pitch who have to get into position.
Sure.
And it's not always that you're running forward to get into this position, but also you have a lot of backward movements.
Right.
And therefore, as you said, we did already a lot for running forward, changing direction, but just running backwards, that's not so very often. So therefore, I think it's a good thing. We do it with our teams, with our players, and it also helps them to have the whole package of running fast in all directions.
Technically, how do you do it? Like, is there a right and a wrong way?
I mean, you know, when we're running forward, you always say on the front part of your foot.
Sure.
If you're running backwards, you would more naturally be on the front part of your foot because it's very difficult to run backwards on your heels. So see, so therefore it's basically the same things. Another thing is sometimes, you know, when I'm running forward, I'm leaning forward so that gravity is pulling also my body a bit forward. So when I'm leaning forward when running backwards, that's a bit of a conflict.
Sure.
So therefore also if you're leaning back a little bit, then also it's becoming a bit faster when moving with your body instead of against your body. The first one, you may remember last time when we did the video, you were running over a line, crossing your feet. Now you will do the same thing backwards.
Backwards, okay.
Exactly. Here that we have a line, you can do this. You just step with the right foot on the left side, the left foot on the right. So you're moving backwards like this.
Okay, so like this, basically. Okay, to me, you know, given everything you've taught us over the years, it feels a little bit counterintuitive because I'm going like in this it's almost like dancing, right? And I'm rotating in my body.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it might sound like a conflict with what we talked about before.
Okay.
But actually, just imagine you're in a situation standing here as a center defender, for example, and you have to go there.
Yeah.
Now you have two ways. You can move like this.
Yeah.
But then actually what you have to do is that you have to move your body first in this direction, and then you make the turn. And then also you have another wrist. If your foot gets stuck in the grass, now you're twisting your knee, right? So the other option would be that you're moving like this.
Yeah, that feels much faster, basically. So I'm already moving like
Exactly.
that. Okay.
You're already moving in this direction. So you see now, you remember when we're accelerating, we're leaning forward, we're moving forward, so we're using gravity. Now I do the same thing, because look what is happening with my body. It's already going in this direction.
As I'm taking that, I'm already...
I'm moving there.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay.
You need to lean back a little bit. Yes. You see how much easier it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I give you also another example. You have a corner kick from this side. Now you're the defender, I'm the striker, okay? You want to keep me away from the goal, right? So I'm moving forward, I'm moving backwards to get away from you. But I can also try to get away from you like this. You see, now I'm in between you and the goal. This is where I want to be, and you don't want me to be, right?
Sure. So how do you train that? The same way?
Exactly. This, for example, you can do. And then when you want to run into position, there we have one drill for you. Now I want you to run backwards with longest possible steps.
Okay. Okay.
Good. Yes. Okay. Feels a bit silly.
It feels really silly, yeah.
Okay. Try that you're heeling up a bit more when you're doing this.
Okay.
Yes. Good. What we're doing here is hamstring activation.
Okay.
Hamstring activation is extremely important, also for injury prevention, and that is what you do with this drill. And of course, I mean, you're not running like this into position, don't get me wrong, but it helps you that you're more prepared if you need to run back.
What I'm getting from this is that it's the whole transition from running backwards into turning around and going straight ahead, right?
But that you're not losing any momentum, any time when doing so. But what I want you to do is that we do something where you have to change direction.
Sure.
So now the next one you do is that you do cross steps like you did before. Then when I clap hands, you change direction. When I clap hands, you move forward again. Okay, do it slowly. It's no need now really to... But you could also feel when you're going backwards, and now I clapped hands, and you have to push forward again. What happened with your muscles, right? Now you really had to use some energy to come into a forward move again. And that's what you do in the game. Yes. I mean, you can also make it more difficult, right?
Yeah. Okay. More?
Yes. I mean, I clapped hands.
Yeah.
Then you just had to react on this.
Sure.
Now I say 2 or 3. When I say 2, you go backwards. When I say 3, you continue.
Okay.
3, 2, 3, 2. Yes! If you have this combination also that you have to take a decision, then it's even better, because that's even more gamer-like. That's really what you have to do in the game. You have to take quick decisions.
And that's the key takeaway here, guys. It might sound like, yeah, we're just running backwards, but that's not really what it's about. It's about, you know, being able to change direction quickly, but also about thinking and reacting quicker. So it's not just, you know, one direction and that's back. You actually help yourself. You set yourself up for success in all directions and all aspects of the game.
So there you have them, my friends. 35 tips and drills to become faster in 55 minutes. But are there other things you'd like us to dive a bit deeper into? Let me know in the comment section right down below. Of course, don't forget to go and subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. If you need new football gear, hit the link to Unisport to your right. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio. Zoom, 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 meep, meep.